Good evening, everybody. This is Jim Howard and Wendy Howard with Trinity Security Allies. Thank you for coming out tonight. We're going to be talking about emergency preparedness for your church. We're really excited about this webinar. When we go out and we kind of do our training, one of the things that we always kind of, we're training for so many different things. It's the sign of the times. Of course, when we come into the churches and train, we're talking about a church shooting, which, you know, that's the worst thing that can happen to the church. Of course, with the civil unrest right now that's going on and the things that you have to be concerned about, everyday things, even an accident that you may come upon or shooting inside of a theater, the riots that we see happening out here, there's always this question about first aid. Now, when we talk in the training sessions, we bring up a couple of different products that we have looked at, but we've never really sat down and kind of really dug into something that might be feasible for everybody inside of a church. Now, of course, there's a lot of times we go in and we see these first aid kits that they pick up from Walmart or CVS that has Band-Aids, maybe some gauze, a pair of scissors, some tweezers and things like that. Of course, in some of your bigger churches, your larger churches, you usually have on your medical team, you have a complete bag like the stethoscope and a blood pressure cup and able to do a little more work. But we always are looking for something like what we call like a to-go bag that we can throw in and carry with us at all times that might have the important stuff that we truly need. And when we look at a kit like this is something that we've been wanting to have one that we could kind of put our hands on and test it. And that is where we had Richard Burke contact us from Tytek. Now, we started talking and it really just became really right there in front of us that they had a pouch that I really liked, and the way that they put it together and the instructions and the simplicity of it, it just really kind of caught me. And so we got to talking and we asked Ryan if he would come down and talk at the conference. So I thought I would get him out here tonight so y'all get a chance to meet him. Now, Ryan Burke currently serves as Director of Emergency Preparedness for Tytek Medical. In 1996, Ryan started his service as a fire EMS. During this time, Ryan served on several specialized teams as tactical medic, hazmat technician, and rope rescue technician. In 2006, Ryan changed his career path and accepted his first position in healthcare emergency management. Ryan has earned a Bachelor of Science in Healthcare Administration with a concentration in emergency management from the University of Phoenix, a Master's of Business Administration, and a Master's of Public Health from Benedictine University. He's a nationally registered paramedic and an International Association of Emergency Managers certified emergency manager. Has responded to multiple national disasters with the state of Ohio and Butler County Incident Management Team, including Hurricane Irma and Winter Storm Jonas. Ryan continues his passion for serving by serving on multiple regional committees and as a team leader for his church's safety team. So Ryan, let me get you out here on the screen. Good evening. How's it going?
Jim. It's going well. How are you?
Well, thanks for coming out with us tonight. I told our listeners a little bit about you, but if you could just kind of tell us a little bit how you got involved in Tytek and what your passion is as far as helping churches be prepared for anything, or really, let me back that up just a second. It's being prepared, period, at any moment in time. I mean, the way that we see these emergencies that happen, I mean, if we take a look at Las Vegas, we take a look at the movie theater, Sutherland Springs, all these different places like that have these incidents. Wouldn't it be nice, even a minor accident where a person has been injured? I had a guy on a motorcycle when I was off one day that ran into a car, twisted his foot so bad that he was bleeding out. So having a tourniquet like the kit that you had would have been something that I wish I'd have had back then. But anyway, let's talk about you for a second. Let's go.
So I really got involved in Stop the Bleed training when I worked for a local trauma center here in Cincinnati, Ohio, when Stop the Bleed first came about. It first came about post Sandy Hook. Dr. Lenworth Jacobs, the American College of Surgeons, fire, EMS, and law enforcement leaders across the country got together and kind of took a look at, what could have gone differently to save lives and prevent death. What could people on the scene, immediate responders, the immediate responder concept is, individuals on the scene that can render assistance immediately prior to first responders arriving. And what we've learned and what we know is that the number one preventable cause of traumatic death is severe hemorrhage. So how do we teach people, how do we equip people to prevent death from bleeding? And there was the Stop the Bleed program. And in 2015, the White House took this up, made it a national initiative. And we have a Stop the Bleed Day every year. But we don't just, put our efforts in Stop the Bleed training one day a year. We reach out and we try to train as many people as we can every day of the year. Because frankly, it might be my life that this person who took a class saved, or your life, or somebody that I love's life. So it's very, very important that we reach out and learn this.
So Tytek is involved in more than just medical equipment, but also educating people on Stop the Bleed.
Absolutely. We kind of stand on three pillars: educate, equip, and empower. So we want to educate you to prevent death. We want to equip you to be able to prevent death through severe bleeding. We want to empower you to go out and, perform those tasks or get involved to help save somebody's life through being educated and equipped.
So how long have you been with Tytek?
I've actually been with Tytek just shy of a year. I joined them shortly before all the Corona business came about. So it's been a very interesting year, to say the least. Although most people's focus has been on the virus, we try to remind people that there are other things, killing people, and we need to focus on how do we prevent those as well.
Well, we didn't stop driving. But we have seen the civil unrest, which is just another thing that's a very deep concern. And we've seen individuals attacked in different, areas in the country. So it's never far away. It's not like we live in a cocoon still. I mean, we still have to go do our grocery shop, and some of us still have to go to work. Kids are back in school now. And so we still continuously have to be involved. So tell us about your products. Tell us about some of the stuff that y'all provide for churches, any individuals, anybody.
So we do provide a whole family of products. It's called the Tensus Trauma Response System. We provide some of the higher level stuff to EMS and first responders. Then we also build things for the civilian world as well. We have stations, which are wall-mounted stations that contain anywhere from 6 to 8 bleeding control kits. We also have just individual kits that you can put in a drawer or somewhere where it's close by within reach. And then we have one of our best products, in my opinion, is our pouch. And the reason I say it's our best product is because it's the most mobile product. And while it's great to have something, on a wall or in a desk drawer, ready to go when you need it, it's always best to have it on you when you need it, because you may not be able to get to that station to get the kit. You might not be able to get back to your car, to get into the glove box. So, I very much appreciate having something close to me, on me, and ready to go when I need it.
Right. So I'm gonna switch the screen here again, and I'm gonna pull up that kit, that bleeding control pouch that you have. And so let me do that, and I want you to describe the products that are in there. So,
Sure.
So tell me about this. Let me get us up here so people can see us still talking.
Sure. So what you see in front of you here is our enhanced bleeding control pouch. We have 3 different levels. We have standard, enhanced, and ultimate.
Let me go back. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. So the enhanced pouch, provides you products such as the 6-inch trauma bandage, which will help facilitate compression or pressure to your wound packing. We do have Easy Gauze, which is our packing gauze. That is if you have a wound to the groin area, the armpit or the neck, you can pack those.
Now that's these right here, correct?
Yes, those are the 2 packs of Easy Gauze.
Okay.
So, and that's just plain gauze, a 4-yard long piece of gauze is what it is. We also have a tourniquet. The tourniquet that we have in there is the cat tourniquet. It's probably the most popular, most familiar tourniquet on the commercial market today. And the reason we selected the cat tourniquet and the reason we select most of our products is we generally go by the Tactical Combat Casualty Care Committee's recommended products. And these are the products, this is the committee that recommends what our soldiers, sailors, and men and women in uniform have, for combat. And they're the ones who are the experts in that type of trauma care. So we go with their recommendations, and the cat tourniquet is one of their recommended tourniquets. The other items that we have is obviously for your protection. We have 2 pairs of high-risk gloves in there because we don't want you to get injured either. We do have a pair of shears in there because you can't treat what you can't see, and sometimes you have to remove clothing to take a look at the wound you're trying to treat. We have a Sharpie marker, so that way you can write the time that you apply the tourniquet, because that may be important to the physicians at the hospital when they're making decisions about the patient's care. We have a little instruction card down there, just in case you have a moment where you're not recalling what you learned. You can quickly remember or recall what you learned by taking a quick look at that card. We also have a chest seal in the enhanced pouch. Now, the chest seal is kind of a complicated topic. We don't really have enough time for that right now, but it's generally best to allow people who are trained to utilize chest seals, but chest seals are to help not control bleeding. It is not a bleeding control product. It is more of a respiratory system product to help return a lung injury. Hopefully, I'm trying to simplify it a little bit, but prevent further lung injury, if you will. The emergency blanket is right below the chest seal, and we really put the emergency blanket in there because once you stop the bleeding, the other killer of trauma patients, especially bleeding trauma patients, is hypothermia. You may not believe this, but it's actually true that for every degree Celsius a person loses in body temperature as a trauma patient, they lose the ability to clot by about 10%. So if you drop 2 degrees Celsius, your body has lost about 20% of its clotting ability, and that does not benefit a trauma patient at all, especially a bleeding one.
So these have been battle tested, what you're saying then?
Yeah, the cat tourniquet and the the cat tourniquet, and then in the ultimate pouch we have a hemostatic gauze in there, which is gauze impregnated with a material that helps make a bigger, better, faster clot. Those items are based off of recommendations from TCCC. The remaining products are in there due to evidence-based medicine, not necessarily TCCC recommendations.
Hey Ryan, this is Wendy. I have a couple of questions that have already come in.
Sure.
The first one is from James Shoemaker. If I buy a pouch for each car, will Florida's heat be detrimental to the product?
Florida's heat won't necessarily be detrimental to the product. The only product in there that I can think, if you leave it in there for multiple years of extended Florida heat, might be the chest seal, and because the chest seal has an adhesive to it, that's the only thing I can really think of, but I don't have any evidence to support that, but that would be my suspicion. There used to be an issue with some of the tourniquets that they were using over in the Middle East, being exposed to the Middle East sun and the UV rays for extended periods of time, where they went to use the tourniquet, the windlass, the plastic rod. When they go to turn that, it would fail sometimes. However, they have most all commercial tourniquet manufacturers have addressed that issue in the most up-to-date generation or versions of their tourniquets.
Okay, and Ryan, I have one more question from Steve Florkey. I assume the gloves are nitrile or similar non-latex material?
That is correct. They are nitrile gloves. They are a high-risk glove. And if you see right there on the right-hand side glove, you see a white glove and then like a little bit of purple on the top of the glove. Basically, we selected these gloves to help protect you or help protect identify when you might have become at risk. These gloves, when you puncture them, that color difference between the external glove and the internal portion of the glove, it's readily apparent if you get a puncture to that glove. So that way you can pay a little closer attention when you remove the gloves to see if you've actually injured yourself or potentially exposed yourself to bodily fluid.
So we're looking at the bleeding control pouch, but tell us about some of the other stuff that you have. Because wait, let me just stop for a sec. The reason why I asked you this question is that this is kind of great for I want to say smaller churches that don't have anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course I would recommend having multiple kits though, like you said, maybe throughout the church.
Absolutely.
If they're not going to wear them. But what I'm getting at, here's what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm.
This is not only your larger products that you have for bigger events would be good for larger churches, a concert venue,
Sure.
all these different things like that. And I didn't put anything out here, but we're going to pass on your information to everybody that's on the webinar tonight so that they can go out and look at the different products that you do offer. But you have not only this, but a self-contained, I mean, almost like a triage. Well, this is, I don't know that you call it triage, but you know what I'm saying. You have some impressive stuff out there.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you much. We do have a triage bag. That triage bag comes again in a standard, enhanced, and ultimate level. And the difference, and if I didn't clarify that, the difference between the standard and the enhanced is the standard does not have the chest seal or the emergency blanket. The enhanced gets you the chest seal and emergency blanket. Then when you go to the ultimate, you get everything that's in the enhanced, but we remove one easy gauze and put in a hemostatic dressing, a hemostatic packing gauze. So that's kind of the difference. But we do have a triage bag. The triage bag does come with roughly 4 times the product that an individual pouch has. We also have a mass casualty system where you can interchange the bags on the actual skeleton of the system. You can get airway bags, burn bags, bleeding control bags. It's very customizable and interchangeable for whatever fits your need or whatever needs you have.
Ryan, one of the things that has already come up are the cost of the bags. Now I know at the conference we're going to be giving away 4 of the ultimate kits.
For the enhanced pouches. Yes,
4 of the enhanced pouches will be given away, but we've already had people asking about cost. So once we go over those, we will go over all the cost of everything.
Sure. I can give you the cost of the pouches right now, real briefly. We do our best to make sure everything is as affordable as possible. We don't try to price gouge you because, again, we want to get this out into the public, out into the community to save lives. So your standard pouch retail price is $60. Your enhanced bleeding control pouch is $79, and your ultimate bleeding control pouch is $115. Now you might say, wow, that's a huge jump between enhanced and your ultimate. Well, those hemostatic agent gauzes are expensive. Now, you know, I have recommended hemostatic agents to a wide variety of people, primarily first responders, law enforcement, SWAT team, those who are going to very high risk situations where there's a very good possibility that they may take a round. Now, for the general public, I would much rather you have a whole lot of gauze versus just a couple of hemostatic agents, because, you know, again, they are expensive, and we've got literature that shows that hemostatic agents do work, but we do have evidence that shows that it is the technique and how you pack the wound that may actually be more important than the higher end hemostatic agents.
Now, you train the stop the bleed, correct? You do classes on that.
I do. I absolutely.
So you would gladly come back down to Florida again to do classes like that, or do you have somebody here locally?
Any excuse to come to Florida, I'm happy to come. But yes, I will absolutely come to Florida and provide classes. But I would always first check with your local trauma center, your local hospital, your local fire department, because the Stop the Bleed is a national program, and all three of those entities will generally, somebody in your community amongst those entities will generally offer those classes to the community for free. This is not, you know, something that you should have to pay for to attend these trainings. They only take about an hour and a half of your time, but they provide you basic knowledge and give you a comfort level in responding to these type of emergencies to potentially save somebody's life. So, you know, an hour and a half, you know, for somebody's life, I think that's a worthwhile investment.
Sure it is. Sure it is. So Wendy, any more questions?
We do not have any more questions out there.
So, okay. Ryan,
Mhm.
the one thing that I think is important is just the education. And it's kind of like what you're talking about in what y'all do: educate, empower, and equip. Yes.
Yeah.
I knew there was another E in there. But what is the major problem that you see when you have people that just want to buy the kit and don't talk about it, or want the education on it and things like that? What is the major problem that you see where they run into?
So I think one of the biggest challenges that we've had from Stop the Bleed, and this is with the general citizenry plus first responders, is getting buy-in on use of tourniquets. Now, you may have heard, as your listeners may have heard at one point in time, that if you use a tourniquet, you're choosing life. Yes, but they're going to lose the limb below the tourniquet. That's just absolutely not true with modern day tourniquets. That kind of came about World War I, when they were using Civil War era style tourniquets, putting tourniquets on people and leaving them in a trench for 3 or 4 days. Well, you know, absolutely, if you leave a tourniquet on for 3 or 4 days, whatever's below it is coming off. But you can safely apply a modern day commercial tourniquet for up to 2 hours with little to no negative effects. So that's one of the things we really had to convince people of, and that's backed up by thousands and thousands of tourniquet applications, unfortunately, in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's only been one known person to lose the limb because of the tourniquet application, not because of the wound itself. And that was a soldier that got shot, was in the jungle. It took about 6 hours to extricate them to medical aid. And at that point in time, the limb below the tourniquet had to be removed. Because of the tourniquet, but not because of the limb. But fortunately, you know, especially in Florida and Ohio as well, there's a hospital on every street corner.
Sure.
So the likelihood of you having to have it on for 2 hours is very, very slim.
Slim and none. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, that's the importance of having I thought it was great that y'all threw in the marker in there, because that's one of the things that people, it was funny. I was given a class on tourniquets, how to use tourniquets. And the nurse that was standing there watching me was critiquing how I was showing how to do it. And then when we got finished with applying the tourniquet, I took out the pen and she goes, "Oh, you knew what to do." I said, "Yeah, you write down the time here, you know."
Absolutely.
Because like you said, the hospitals need to know how long it's been on. But
Yeah.
just like you said, they're not going to be gone for 2 hours. They're not going to be laying out there for 2 hours. That's kind of more along the line, and correct me if I'm wrong, is loss of blood. Because if you got it on fairly quickly, doesn't that help on them kind of knowing?
The most important thing is to keep the blood in the container.
Yeah.
Don't let it out.
Yeah.
So the quickest, the fastest you can apply that tourniquet or pack that wound and stop the bleeding is the most important thing we can do. That is going to be a significant it's going to be a significant in that survivability of the patient, because even if a patient bleeds but doesn't completely bleed every bit of blood out of their body, there is a point where you bleed so much then you become what's called unsalvageable, unrecoverable. So we have to stop bleeding. And when you apply a tourniquet, or when you apply pressure to an injury, when you pack an injury, you have to stop the bleeding. Slowing the bleeding isn't enough. You must stop the bleeding.
It's serious stuff these days, and it needs to be known. I mean, you could save a loved one's life.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how serious it is, especially in vehicle accidents and things like that, where you see, traumatic injuries. Just being able to do some sort of first aid, on that person. We saw the Las Vegas shooting. You saw a lot of young men running around without shirts on, and people kept looking at me going, why were they running around without shirts? They had taken them off and used them as a tourniquet.
Yeah.
That's people need to learn these things. Even though you might have a kit, not have a kit, you have clothing on that you can use.
Sure.
I showed, like I said, did another demonstration once before, and I said, if you don't have one, take off a shirt. And the guy looked at me like, you mean shirts will work as tourniquet? I said, yes. It's kind of surprising that people don't realize that.
Yeah. Improvised tourniquets can be effective. They're not as efficient,
No.
Obviously, but they can be efficient. One of the important things, if you're going to go the improvised tourniquet route, if you don't have a commercially made tourniquet available, is you really need to get something that is at least an inch wide. And the reason that is because if you get the foam cord or the 550 cord or those type of things, you can actually do a lot of damage because of the pressure that you're going to have to create to get that bleeding to stop is going to be so great. There's going to be a lot of other damage done. So you really want something that's at least an inch wide to use as an improvised tourniquet.
So we need to start telling guys to have a belt that's at least.
Jim, you need to speak up a little bit.
I'm sorry?
We've had a couple of people ask for you to speak up a little bit. We're having a hard time hearing you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was hearing some feedback, and I was trying to be careful not blow out anybody's ears. All right. So was that the question? Do we have any more questions?
It was 2 comments that you needed to speak up.
Oh, okay. Ask them if it's better. All right. Anyway, let's get on with this. So Tytek and TSA have joined together because we're going to be offering your products when we go to different places. So, kind of tell them a little bit about that. I mean, I thought it was really great that you contacted us. We didn't contact you. So how did you even find us?
I was doing some searching for church safety, church security programs and groups and stuff like that. And I did land on your website. And the reason I really want to get to the churches is because we've seen a lot of violence, against churches in the not too distant past. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better, unfortunately. So being a church safety team leader myself, and when I came into the team really wasn't familiar with this training or these products, and that they were available and that they really should be placed in the church. I thought that, there's probably a lot of other churches out there that need this information and need this equipment as well. So in reaching out to you all and seeing the breadth of churches that you touch and that you impact and reach out to, I thought it would be a good fit to connect with TSA. Now, one of the things we want to make sure to do is for those who are affiliated with TSA, we want to get you a 5% discount on our pricing for our products. But we're also going to return 5% back to TSA to support your mission in reaching out to churches and protecting churches across the country.
Well, we appreciate that. We really do.
So we have a couple of questions, guys. Do you want to take a couple more questions?
Sure.
Okay. We did have a comment that yes, your volume, Jim, is better. Jeff Page, if you use an item out of the kit, does Tytek sell individual items?
So we don't sell individual items, like we don't just sell Tourniquet or we don't just sell chest shields and that kind of stuff. Those items we put into our kits. Now we do sell our products, the products that we make, but those products are the easy gauze, the trauma bandages. There's some other products that we have that are for medical professionals, such as chest decompression needles and stuff like that we sell. But yes, our products that we make, we can sell to the general public just themselves.
Okay. Next question I have is from John Perone. Bandage in my cargo pocket of my shorts daily, and they fill my entire pocket. What is the size of the kit, and how comfortable is it to wear on person?
Well, it's light. It's only about a pound of weight, and I want to say off the top of my head, it's probably 3 inches deep.
You know, I have one here, and I can show it to John. So
okay.
I know who John is. So tell John I'll show it to him next time. He's on my he helps me with the safety team at our church, and so he's been looking for tourniquets and different things like that, and we've been talking. So I'll show it to him the next time. It is a pouch that looks like a large camera case, really, that fits on the belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say it's 3 inches deep, about 5 inches tall, 5 inches wide.
The thing I liked about it was that it was all put together. It was,
yes.
You had this little fold out that you could fold out and then fold it back together. So it wasn't like you were stuffing it in all the time trying to make everything fit. Like another one that I had a makeshift one that a friend made for me. So I just want to, you brought up an interesting, I'm going to ask this question. You prefer packing the wound instead of the stop the bleed or the go ahead. No. The gauze that you were talking about, that quick clot.
Got you. So it's not that I prefer it. The reason I say I prefer it, the reason I said I preferred it, is because I would rather a church have 100 rolls of regular rolled gauze at the ready versus investing the same amount of money into 3 or 4 rolls of hemostatic gauze.
Okay.
I want you to be able to treat the most amount of people possible that you have.
Yep.
If you are fortunate and have a church, and the same thing I tell the police department, the fire departments I talk to, if you have the luxury of an endless budget, by all means, buy the hemostatic gauze. But if you're trying to make that budget decision, do I buy 2 rolls of the expensive stuff or 50 rolls of the lesser expensive stuff? I will go the lesser expensive route because I can do more with that.
Perfectly clear. I appreciate you explaining that.
Not a problem.
Okay, we have one last question, guys. Do you recommend a specific size of tampon to plug wounds?
Who was that?
Well, I get that. I'll be honest about that. So tampons do very good for what they're designed to do. But if tampons were designed to swell up as they absorb and apply pressure, there would be a lot of women with injuries. Tampons aren't designed to swell up and create pressure to stop a bleed. They are simply there to absorb blood. I don't know if Nate was a wrestler back in the day or something like that, because when I was a wrestler and somebody gave me a cross face and my nose started to bleed, they just throw a tampon and we go back up to wrestling. but it was just there to absorb the blood, not create pressure and stop bleeding.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, Joe. Sorry, Joe.
James.
Oh, James Shoemaker. I'm gonna see him in a couple of weeks. We'll have a guys.
All right, guys, do you have any more questions out there?
Now Ryan's going to be with us. He's going to be with us at the conference. So be sure you get up with him. Be sure you talk to him about their products. You can go to their website, which is Tytek Medical, because I found out today that there's another Tytek out there. I don't know if y'all are related, but
we are related. We have Tytek Group, and in that group we have 3 different arms. We've got Industries, Magnetics, and Medical.
I was wondering if the industry was making medical equipment. I didn't know. I kind of ran across it and I was like, wow, maybe I misspelled this, but it wasn't. So
a little bit of background on Tytek. We've been around since 2010, and we originally came to be as we were developing products for the military supporting our troops overseas in the Middle East and stuff. That's kind of how we came to be. And then we recognized that, unfortunately, not just in the U.S., but across the globe, citizens were facing military-style injuries, military-style wounds, and they needed some of these products that we made as well. And that's when we started creating the Stop the Bleed product and some of the first responder lines of products that we have.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, everybody needs these. I think every car should be equipped with one. You just don't know when you're going to pull up on an accident where somebody is bleeding out. Like I said, this one that I was sitting in traffic just talking to a Secret Service friend, and a guy on a motorcycle went right past me and hit the car in front of me, and we were stopped at a stoplight, and he fell on, when I got up and got out of the car, his foot was completely crushed and turned up. So he was bleeding really bad. And fortunately for him, there happened to be a paramedic truck right there on the scene. So, they came in and took over. But after I walked away from that, I thought to myself, I really should have a tourniquet in my car. So I went and got one, started carrying it. So, you just don't know. You don't know.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I in all my family members' cars, my 2 boys, my wife, and myself, we all have bleeding control kits in our car. When I come down to Florida and hit the beach, in the beach bag, I have bleeding control supplies because you never know what will bite you. Whenever I go out to large venues or large events and stuff like that, where as we know, trouble could pop up at any moment. I always have things in, on, or around me or in my wife's purse that we can grab if we needed to utilize them, whether it was on one of us or somebody else needed it. I would hate to be at the ready, but not have my supplies at the ready.
Not have something you can use. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, with everything going on, we have a comment here from Ernest Walker. Good stuff, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Anything else?
Well, I'll tell you, I really appreciate this opportunity, and I appreciate the engagement of the audience. I appreciate the questions as well, any and all of the questions. If you have any more questions or anything like that, feel free to holler out right now, or if you want to reach out to Jim or Wendy, or you can reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer and see what we can do to help.
Well, we'll be putting your information out. Wendy sends out a follow-up email to everybody that's attended. And so in that, your information will be in there. So you may be getting notifications from people or comments from people. Sure. So yeah, I know. That's what we're out here for, to get this stuff out.
Reach out.
Well, and don't forget, for those that are online, that Ryan will be at our conference, and he's going to be giving away 4 of those kits. So
4, not 1. 4. You have 4 chances to win one.
And if you don't mind, if I can just throw out one more thing.
Sure.
Even if you don't intend to buy from us, or you aren't going to spend money, with our company or anything like that, and you have questions, please reach out. Happy to answer any and all questions. And I know Some, may have affiliation with other companies or prefer other companies and that kind of stuff. I would just ask you, no matter who you buy from, us or anybody else, please vet the products that they're putting into their kits. Make sure that their products are evidence-based products, and make sure if it's a tourniquet or a hemostatic agent, that it is a Tactical Combat Casualty Care Committee recommended product. Because there's a lot of products out in the market right now that are being sold that really aren't evidence-based and or supported by TCCC. And we want to make sure what you get and what you intend to utilize will work when you call upon it.
Well, I'm just going to jump in here and say something too, Ryan. When I see like your resume and what you've sent over to us, to be one of those type of people that would go into an area that's been hit by a hurricane or a storm, like you're talking about, a very bad storm. You're not the type of guy that's trying to make a buck on things. You're out here trying to do something to help people. So I'm impressed with those things like that. That's a lot to go into areas like that. And being a paramedic, EMT, trust me, I know you've seen a lot. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And that's one of the reasons I did gravitate to Tytek, because, public service, non-for-profit has always been my background. Crossing over to private industry was a leap that I had to take, but I had faith in the company and what they stood for, which is why I took that leap. And you're right, I did spend some time in Florida for the hurricanes. I was in Lee County, and then I was in Hendry County a couple of years back. So I spend my fair share of time in Florida.
Plus, you're a team leader of a safety team at a church, so that means a lot to me right there. So,
thank you.
Okay, Wendy, we got anything else?
We do not.
Oh, all right. Well, let me close up. Ryan, I'll talk to you later. Once I get finished, this thing kicks out everybody, so it's not like you and I can talk afterwards. So I'll get up with you tomorrow, and we'll see where we're going to go next with this. So let me just switch over and kind of get back into the PowerPoint mode, which of course everybody just really just loves. So anyway, this is the bleeding control pouch that they offer. And we'll get the prices for you and all the different options that you can do. But this is really a good setup to have in your vehicle, have in your church, have on you, like Ryan was saying, anytime in case of a situation of where somebody could get injured. Okay, they have a lot of other products. And like he said, at this moment in time, I mean, if you mention Trinity Security Allies, not at this moment in time, but if you mention us, you get 5% off, and plus they're going to give us 5% of the sale. So that helps out our ministry even more. And there's kind of a picture of the pouch right there, how small it is. It's really not that big of a pouch, but it is compact with a lot of stuff in there. So we went through those. Anyway, here's some of the free resources that we offer out here. On every Sunday, we do a Facebook Live. Look, we're going to pay attention more and more to what is going on around this country. I know that some of y'all have talked to me. A lot of you have sent me the video. I'll be showing this when we do our church safety networking group meetings. But Hillsborough County had a church that the guy went in with a flammable material and started a fire inside the church. These are going to be continuing to happen all over the place. We are noticing more and more vandalisms to churches all across the country. So every Sunday night at 8:00 p.m., we do a Facebook Live and we talk about things that we're seeing out here or things that we need to be paying attention to. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to get better for a while. It's only going to get worse until we just have some leadership that comes in and kind of helps us out on this. And we need to make sure that we're protecting the church and paying attention to what's going on around us. We also have other free resources. We have a YouTube page that you can go out, Trinity Security Allies. Also, I work with Kevin Haggerty, who does the God Logic Project, and he has a lot of videos of where we've talked about different things like racism. We've talked about critical race theory and intersectionality and how it affects the churches when it comes in. We've talked about these things that does not have anything to do with the Bible and the grace of God. So we need to make sure that we're paying attention to all these things. We also have 4 booklets out, ebooks that are on our webpage, putting together a safety team, developing a safety team, carrying weapons in church, and Sunday morning, what to look for. And I'm hoping real soon we're going to have another one out here. We've just been really busy with the conference that's coming up. And speaking of the conference, we're going to have our 4th annual. There are seats still available, but it is filling up fast. We've never seen so many people wanting to come to our conference, and this is exciting for us because we have great speakers that are going to be coming out. This is going to be at Generations Christian Church, 1540 Little Road, Trinity, Florida, on October the 17th. Breakfast and registration starts at 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m., we're going to be jam-packed. And right now, it's $40 to get you in. That's half price. And where can you go and get all this information that you're going to get? All these people right here that I'm showing you are going to be there to talk about the different things that face churches today. And as you see, Ryan's there. He's going to be talking about emergency preparedness. Please go sign up because, like I said, we're starting to run out of seats. It's very exciting, but we want everybody to get in there that can. Ways to support us, prayer. Please be praying for us. Pray for all the churches in this area. Membership, of course, is $125 for a church or $1,200 for the year. And what that does is give them training and also free access to our YouTube page under the membership side. We also have online membership program, $25 a month. Wendy is still running it at $20 if you want to do it. I mean, she's not going to say no. This also gives you weekly online training and access to video training library and 1 ticket to the church safety conference. The church membership gives you 5 members tickets to the safety conference. We also do training, a la carte training, and I'm going to talk to Ryan because I think one of the things we want to start talking about is including Stop the Bleed in one of our trainings. We also talk about donations. Anybody that's looking for a 501c3 that wants to make a donation to a charity like ours, please have them, a nonprofit like ours, have them contact us. This way we can reach out to more churches and get out there and be able to share this information for a very low cost. I'm going to say this again. We're going to try to get Ricky on one of these Thursdays to talk about USCCA. If you defend your family, who protects you? Even if you're in a situation to where you have to push somebody to get them out of your face. Now, I'm not telling you to go up and start challenging people, but USCCA will come in and help you in situations of a use of force, and that's any use of force. If you remember with USCCA, any use of force, they're going to work with you. Also, you know, just one of the things that they do offer is also they offer a lot of educational videos. They offer a booklet that has a lot of good information in it. And something that I found out that I kind of was impressed makes them a little bit different than the others. I was told that you could choose your own attorney where some of the others had their attorneys they want you to use. So I want to verify on that, but I was told that. And I think that that's one of the best things out there because sometimes some of these other organizations, the attorneys that they use, I wouldn't want to trust my life with them. So this is some of the stuff that you can look at. I want to appreciate you all for coming out. Thank you so much. It means a lot that you come out and support this ministry. We're out here for you. And if you have any questions or need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out and contact us. Wendy will be passing on Ryan's information. So if you have any questions, you can contact him. Be safe out there and be blessed.